Hello there. Hi. A thought for the day today. Is change a good thing? There are two schools of thought on this. One, that change is something that humans don't really adjust to very well. But on the other hand, change is the only constant. We've all evolved over many millennia and adapted to change in the conditions, in different ways of living and working over very long periods of time. However, humans don't like change. And it's not really a question of whether it's good or bad, it happens. Therefore, it's more about the management of that change. And if things are not managed well, it can go badly and have adverse reactions. And we're seeing a lot of that around the world at the moment. If we think about the situation with people being against immigration, it's because the need for immigration and the changes associated with that have not been communicated well. The population have not been prepared for that level of change. And therefore we're having people balking at the impact it has, they perceive on their lives. And some people, unfortunately, some politicians are taking advantage of that and using very questionable rhetoric to describe people who are coming and making that kind of change. If we look at the UK situation, when the new Central European countries joined the European Union, I think it was the UK and Ireland were the only European Union member states at that time which permitted people from Poland, from the Czech Republic, from Slovakia, from Hungary to come and live and work in the UK. And that was under the Blair and Brown administration. Now, being a good European Union member meant free movement of people, free movement of capital and free movement of goods. And therefore people coming to live and work in the UK was part of that European Union membership, and certainly that agreement that the UK government at that time made. The challenge was that change was not managed well. It wasn't forecast properly. So initially, I believe 50,000 Polish people were forecast to come and live and work in the UK. In the end, over 10 times that number eventually came. So that level of migration, that level of change was very difficult for an existing UK population or parts of that population to sustain. Personally, for me, I think change is a good thing. Working in the tech industry for many, many years, you get used to change because ultimately you're driving that with new waves of technology. But coming back to large numbers of people coming and change not being managed and prepared for the population, we see people pushing against it. And that's what's happened in the UK, it's happening in a number of other countries. Happening in the United States, happening in France, happening in Germany, and across a number of other European countries at the moment. So what can we do? If care, compassion and communication isn't managed and planned properly by an incumbent government or any kind of organisation for that matter, it could be in business, it could be in another kind of organisation in the public sector, then it will come unstuck. And that really is the thought for today, that change really is the only constant, and it's not a good or a bad thing. It's about how it's managed by the administration or the leadership who are introducing that change and guiding it through.